Welcome to episode 6 of Amoris Laetitia, the love series. And today we have Gloria and of course her husband Harold, but Gloria is here to represent both of them. And today we're going to be discussing love forgives and love endures all. So of course we had to ask Gloria to come on and share with us today because, I mean, if you know Gloria, she has a book full of stories and she's full of a lot of wisdom. And when it comes to marriage, you know, she is truly, truly gifted and wise. So Gloria, share with us your own personal story when it comes to love forgives and love endures all.
Okay. Hi, Lauren. Thanks very much for this opportunity to still contribute, even in this stage of life, some of the things we learned along the way. We had 2 very rough days with Harold in the last couple days and nights. So thank God. It's a normal pattern of ups and downs. But I think there's a fundamental kind of a foundation that we managed to lay without even realizing it when we got married. And I think that has helped us to forgive and to endure. Okay, so we got married in 1955. I was 21, 1955, and Harold was 24. Okay, so we got married 2.5 years after we met. So I met him before I was 19. And one of the things that when we got married at St. Joseph RC Church, and we had a nice reception at our home, my parents' home. When we went to Bombshell Bay, which is Gaspery, for our honeymoon, and a very simple thing happened in that we decided, you know, when you're young, you're in love, you have all these things that come to your head. So it's something just came to our head. And we said, let us make a promise to trust each other. It seemed a kind of little idea, kind of romantic idea, but actually it was the foundation of our life and we didn't even realize it. So I always tell couples, when you get these foolish little ideas, follow it through, because it may be the one thing that will help you to go through your life. So we made this promise that we would trust each other no matter what. And really, I think in learning how to forgive and to endure, that simple little promise is what really we built our lives on. That was like a foundation stone. And it is only as we were growing in the years together that we realized how valuable that was. I think it was an inspiration of the Spirit, you know. And so we had an idea. I mean, we didn't have anything but just ourselves. We had no money, no nothing. We just knew that God had brought us together. And it was the 3 of us, Harold, myself, with God, who would start off this journey. I had no idea about how married life worked because I grew up in a single parent home. So I had no idea. I never saw rows and fights and man and woman battling. I was totally vague about that. But I had a deep sense that we would live a very special life. Don't ask me how I knew that. I don't know. I suppose I had these intuitive things from early. And I tell people I just followed my heart. You know, I followed my heart. And I always tell people, when you don't know what to do, follow your heart. Your heart is where God will lead you. So I think both Harold and I, that promise of trust, we never got into battles. We learned in a strange way. I think couples put up obstacles because we have learned that you must fight and you must try to get your way over each other. Instead of removing the obstacles, we put up all kind of blockages, and therefore that leads to fight. Is my way or your, or not at all. But that simple action of trusting and understanding that love is sacred. We have a sense that this love that we were blessed with was a sacred space that no one should enter, not even father, mother, children. So we protected that. We didn't do all kinds of fancy things. We just went to mass and we prayed the rosary together, but we had an honesty with each other. We always spoke truthfully to each other, and we began to cooperate. So when you are cooperating, you don't get into these angry fights and I want this and you want that, and the mother said this and the father said that. And that is what I think leads to unforgiveness. Right? So
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
is that is what we learned from very early. I don't know if
that the thing is, okay, so I have a question for you right now, Gloria. You know, I'm married for well, this year we'll make it 5 years, right?
Okay.
And there are two things that you raised there that kind of struck home for me within my marriage.
Yeah.
The fighting thing, you know, when my husband and I fight, but it's not like vicious fights, but when we do fight, you know, it can become heated. And, you know, as a wife, I try my best to let go certain things and to forgive certain things that, you know, he may have said in the fight. Yeah. But I don't do it easily. I don't do it easily. Do you have any advice? Like how I could, you know, learn to just maybe listen to him better and forgive him?
Well, I think this other generations after us started off believing that fighting is part of love, which I think is a wrong concept. You didn't get married to fight. You got married to try to work things out together. So let me give you an example.
Yes.
Harold came from a very traditional home. I mean, Catholic Christian home. I came from a Catholic home, but with a single mother who was police, judge, jury, magistrate. She was in charge of us, but a good family life. I had extended grandparents, extended family. I had uncles, and we had a very good life, but a simple, basic life. I worked in business, and Harold came from the oil industry, from Deep South. He did not like to owe money. Up to this day, Harold does not like to owe. He doesn't like to have debts. Now, at first, I couldn't understand that because we needed stuff. We had nothing. And I remember we wanted to buy, when our first child was born, we wanted to buy a little pushchair. And I thought we could take it on account or something, you know, because we had the facility to do it. But I realized that he was not comfortable with that at all. So it took me a while to understand and accept, okay, this is his view. It's all right, I can let it go. So for 6 months, I had to tote Graham, Richard, our son, but he helped as well. I think now, because this generation, you all are so independent from early with your own money and your own bank card and your own that it's about mine and yours. It was never mine and yours with us. There was a dressing table drawer that we put the money in. He knew what was there, I knew what was there, and we used it accordingly. And that simple process is still with us today, not the dressing table drawer, but a bank account that both of us are responsible for. And thank God we started that, we laid that foundation, because as he is ill now, I am trusted, both not only by him, but by the children, that I would use the money wisely to take care of both of us. And I don't like to I don't take things on credit willy-nilly. Even my credit card, I would only use it for certain things. I wouldn't just go and buy a whole lot of stuff because I have a credit card, because I know we have to pay it. So simple things like that. It was not about my way and his way. So we never got into fights. We had disagreements. We had things that we didn't agree on or see eye to eye, except when it came to the children. We had a common system. Even if I disagreed with him, I would never tell him in front of the children. We would work that out between us. We never said your fathers want to do this, and we didn't kind of battle in front of the children. So I wouldn't call it fighting. I would say we had a lot of different views, but our aim was to compromise, to work together, to make this marriage work, and it was going to be forever. And after 68 years,
yes,
well, we learned a lot along the way, I don't know if that is helpful.
It is helpful because it reminds me to understand that it's not my way or his
way,
but it's our way. It's our way. And also it reminds me as well to, as much as I trying to prove a point and could come across wrong and strong, I have to be able to see it through his eyes as well, because he genuinely does. My husband is not a fighter. He is not. He is the opposite to me. I am the one who would challenge things. That's what I see. And yes, I am feisty. But sometimes I would often feel like, well, I need to forgive him for certain things. I don't need to fight this much about it. I need to be able to endure this. And, it just, hearing your story, honestly, reminds me of our marriage and what it is working towards.
But you see, this word enduring, Lauren, it's not about suffering things, I think we understand the words a little, like if it's a kind of sacrificial thing you're doing.
Yeah.
If you understand what love is all about, love is a decision. Love is about wanting the other person, you and the other person, to work together for the sake of a lot of things, for the sake of yourselves, your children, and your family, and so on. One of the things I think is sometimes you mustn't listen to the advice of family and friends. I think well-meaning family and friends give you pesticide to throw on the marriage instead of giving fertilizer to nourish the marriage. So we never we always work through things ourselves. Prayer and going to mass together, we always did. We tried, I don't remember us not speaking to each other for days on end. And to me, that is a waste of time and energy. But it seems to be something that is learned, that is seen in the society, and people do it. They don't know why they're doing it. Another thing I live by as a rule, and which I still do, I never ill speak my husband. Never.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks that
Yeah.
Harold Bertrand is the best man in the whole wide world.
Testify.
But yeah. And you know why I never did it? Because I couldn't bad talk him and sleep with him.
Agreed.
I felt that was a no-no.
Yeah.
So we never ill speak each other.
Yes.
So people think Gloria is, oh gosh, she's the best wife in the whole world.
Yeah.
But we just made a decision to work out things together. And I think God really took us seriously and helped us. We also had a few good examples within Harold's family who showed us certain things without telling us. And we were able to follow those things. So I think good people that you come in touch with can be of great help. They don't have to tell you what to do, but you could see, you can look.
You could
and I think that's what we tried to do. You know, we tried to live our lives. Harold was very involved in the church at a very high level, but that never interfered with our relationship. So so, you know, we didn't have any secrets or tools to do it. We just followed a genuine kind of way of being together.
Yeah.
And that's all we did. Yeah.
You know, Gloria, I think part of forgiveness is being honest as well. Because I feel like, you know, in marriage, I don't want to say it's difficult to be honest, but it is a core value to be honest. And I just wanted to find out, you know, you're married for 68 years. How did you, what ways or how were you and Harold able to be honest with each other? What are the kind of things that you all did as a married couple so that you all stayed honest with each other?
Well, like Harold was very involved in sport. So he was a referee, he was all kinds of things. His work was very demanding. And if he had something to do, I would tell him honestly whether I felt, how I felt about it. I am a kind of person who I believe in truth. Truth is very important to me. For me to tell a lie, I would feel sick if I have to tell a lie, you know, and so I would tell him how I feel, you know, how I felt about certain things. And even if he did not always follow through, I remember one time when our third child was born, we were living in Barrackpore, and he was playing cricket all the way in Wairari with the company team. And we baptized the child in the morning, we had lunch, but he wanted to play cricket in the afternoon. Now, our friends who were around and so didn't understand that. But I thought, well, yeah, he did what he had to do in the morning, let him go and play his cricket. And I let him know that I wished he wouldn't do it, but I was able to let him go and do it. And so those were honest moments in our lives. Later on in midlife, when I started to go through menopause, and maybe this would be very helpful for middle-aged couples. A lot of couples going through middle age and menopause, they don't speak about it. But because we had this foundation of honesty and being truthful, we began to talk about it. So I began to tell him how I would feel. And even if he didn't really fully understand, we managed to work through that period of our lives, which could be a very destructive period in marriage, you know, or the loss of money when he retired 5 years before his time because of the oil industry. We had a rough time during those periods. So during rough times, honesty, truthfulness is a core foundation. And it doesn't mean that you feel, oh gosh, I'm doing this. No, you might feel doubt, you might be a little scared, but it's okay to try it, trust it, you know. And I think coming back to the foundation of trust,
Yeah.
that really was a blessing for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had a lot of instances where we had to, people call it being compromising. I wouldn't call it a compromise. I would say you could give way.
Give
You
way.
could err. You could err because of grace, because of love. And really what love endures. Love is not just feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
It's in these times I really begin to understand why God is love. Because God endures.
Yes.
God forgives.
Yes.
He doesn't hold things against us, no matter how many times we mess up.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I think if we think about love as not just nice emotions and feelings, but a way to be so that for the sake of the other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I learned along the way. Even now,
Mm-hmm.
2 nights Harold hardly slept. Well, I learned to sleep in between that now. But it's not just that I can't sleep, it's that he is not also able to sleep. And he's going through something that I can't even begin to understand. But I still have to go the extra mile for the other, to endure, not in a kind of sad way, but in a way of still being able to be joyful and thankful.
Yeah.
And I think it's possible. You know, I think it's possible to love and to grow in love. But feelings, if you depend on your feelings to love, you'll be a real pickle.
Yes, you would. No, but Gloria, I always love to chat with you. You know that. I mean, this is the first time that people are actually going to hear our conversations out loud.
Goodness.
But that's okay.
That's not modern life. We can't do that.
No, but the thing is, yes, we can do that. Hearing you speak, God really made a way to me to find myself in this conversation with you. Marriage is truly a beautiful thing. Once we are able to see it the way that you are seeing it, the fact that, we are able to endure together, this love is not just about the feelings or the good times. It's also about being able to walk with each other during the difficult times, and really sticking it through, understanding that forgiveness is something that will help you to carry the marriage, you know?
But Lauren, what is really something that we don't think about, every stage of marriage has its call to endure, to forgive. Every stage will present different moments, different experiences. It's not that you're going to be happy, 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 and well, once in a blue moon, something happens. That is not what it's all about. I like imagery. So I think God planted me in a garden and a compost heap. In a compost heap. And a compost heap is where you throw everything. You throw all the peel of the vegetables, you throw rough things, you throw everything. But it's in a compost heap that the best manure comes out of a compost heap. And so I tell people, marriage is like a little plant that God gives you. And if you fertilize it and you water it and you prune it, it will grow. If you just leave it there, it will grow, but it will not produce the things that will enhance your life. And if you go to the wrong people, they will give you all kinds of wrong things. They'll say, throw a little bit of this, throw a little bit of that. And it will kill the plant eventually. But I believe that one of the things that helped us was the decision to trust, that holding marriage as sacred, as a call from God. I believe that God called that in my heart, even when I was a child, that I wanted to be a wife and a mother, right? And that to protect it from people who would lead you the wrong way, and to follow your deep instincts, because I think in most people, they want the best for each other. But we have some behavior, some learned behavior about quarreling and fighting and cussing and then making up. That making up is better than the breaking up. All those foolish things that you can't bring back words. So when you curse your spouse and you tell them all kinds of things, how can you come back and love them? You can't do it. It will break down the trust and the what is really of value in the marriage.
Yeah.
So at 88 years old, my husband is a totally different man to the man I married because of illness.
Right.
But it is only love that keeps me looking after him.
Yeah.
Not feelings. It is love. It's a kind of love that you can't even explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the call of marriage that people have taken too lightly.
Mm-hmm.
And that if we understand that the marriage was the first institution of God.
Mm-hmm.
He brought man and woman together.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is the foundation of all life. So if you treat it kind of casually and you don't protect it, and so what kind of offspring you're going to produce? What kind of young people you're going to produce? So we have tried to do that. I mean, we have had a lot of ups and downs. Sometimes things went the wrong way, but always we were able to come back to that base of trust and love and prayer and seeking God in all things,
Yeah. That's what I was going to actually say. Seeking God in all things.
Seeking God.
In all things, yeah.
Actually, this morning I was worried about Harold, and I'm down in the kitchen and I started to say, the Lord, you are my shepherd, I shall not want. I didn't even realize it was the reading of the day. So when I listened to Mass and I heard the reading, I said, oh my God, the Lord really guided me. So I just let him sleep today, and I made some soup for him. And today was really iffy, but we survived the day,
Yeah.
So those are some of the things I've learned about forgiving. Forgiving is something that I have decided I'm not holding anybody in my court, because that is.
What do you mean? Explain that.
Well, a lot of people carry around unforgiveness for years.
Yes,
some little stupidness. And it doesn't solve anything. Lauren. It just makes you miserable and bitter. And I don't want to live like that.
Yes.
I don't want to live like that. So even if I may feel hurt, after a time, I just say, you know what, that's not worth my energy. I just pitch that out. And
right, yes. Yes, but I mean, everybody who's watching it right now would probably be thinking to themselves, maybe if I tried this way, things might be a bit easier for me. But you're right though, Gloria, forgiveness nowadays is something that people don't, they don't gravitate towards it, and I tell you, some things I might feel like, when I look back in retrospect, have I forgiven Brent for it? But
Because you want to prove your point. You want to prove that you are right.
Yes, right. But as I said, we are on a journey. I'm on a journey with that, and forgiveness is much better for us, for me now, than when it is we met 8 years ago. I'm a lot better with it. And I see God working in our lives and in this marriage, but I need to keep at it.
Constant work. It's work. Yeah.
Constant work. It's good work though. It's good work. It's good work.
It's good work. And it never stops.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to forgive Harold for not letting me sleep through the night. For being tired. I could hold that against him. But what is the point?
Yeah.
So I'm so practical sometimes. I think I'm too practical. So I didn't realize that was a great asset for me. Being practical, so I deal with what is at hand. And when I feel, oh my God, I might feel a little frightened, and so I just say to my feelings, you see you, right now, I can't deal with you. Park you up on the shelf. When I'm ready, I'll take you down. So I do what I have to do. And then when I'm over that, I pick up my feelings and I have a good little cry and I feel sorry for myself. And I go again, So I tell people, when you don't know what to do, have a good cry,
Yeah, yeah.
But I always pray, God, come to my aid. I say, Lord, help me. Come to my aid. Have mercy. That's how I live, yeah. So.
But I mean, Gloria, this was so nice chatting with you in this space, talking about forgiveness. You have 4 years versus 68 years here talking, right? I mean, you have 2 different perspectives and the honesty of the perspectives as well. When you brought up that when Harold, he couldn't sleep last night, so you can sleep and you had to forgive him for that. That brought me back to Brent and I got into a disagreement and I could not sleep because I just couldn't understand how he couldn't understand where I was coming from. And I mean, I didn't sleep. The next day we talked about it, right? And I realized that when I look at it now, I forgive him for, the fact that he brought up what he brought up so late in the night that obviously I was challenged by.
It disturbed you, yeah.
It disturbed me, but I forgive him because at least I forgive him because I love him, but I also forgive him because at least he came to me and told me about it.
Yeah.
And that's how I reflect on that situation. When you just told me that, came to my head. Yeah.
So here's how I forgave Harold. I didn't say I forgive you, but I realized this morning he was very weak. So I made a nice little eggnog and I fed it to him because I knew that would strengthen him. He couldn't eat. And I sat there by the bed and I said, Hail Mary. And normally he would respond. This morning he was not responding. So it was silence. And then I called one of our sons and I said, just speak to Daddy, see if he'll hear your voice. That might stimulate him a bit. But that didn't work either. But giving him the little eggnog, that was my way of loving and forgiving. And that's, I'm good at that. I can do that. Those are the gifts I have. You have to use what you have.
Well, that's what I was now going to say, that you just gave me an idea that, when Brent and I have a disagreement and forgiveness comes into play, I could use what I'm good at, because I'm good at that as well too. And
make something nice.
Make something nice and share it with him. And that is my tangible effort of forgiveness.
Right.
That's my tangible effort.
Yeah. So when our anniversary came up last time, I said to him, today is our anniversary, but of course that didn't register. But he did say happy anniversary, but amen, that's it. So I said, Gloria, yeah, what? This is your life, huh? So after I settled him and the nurse came, I went out and I bought something nice for myself. And I bought a fudge for him and a sugar cake for me. And I said, happy anniversary, Gloria. And I done with that. Because these expectations that people will do this and they will do that, they could really destroy your relationship, huh? A lot of foolishness, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And I suppose you learn that as you journey on.
yeah.
But I think we were both committed to the relationship. Harold is a very good person. I knew I was always first in his life. And I think he knows that he is first in my life. So that knowledge took us through, even up to now, you know. Even in his semi-state of understanding things at the moment, he knows that I will not turn away from him. He knows that.
Yeah.
And that is what you build. That's what forgiveness and endurance builds.
Well done. Well, Gloria, I want to thank you so much for sharing. For sharing on this topic. You know, God really brought us together in an extra special way tonight. You know, that fight that we had that kept me up all night was kind of playing back in my mind for a couple of weeks now. I mean, I didn't hold on to it, but now when you gave me your example, I see it from a really different light now.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for saying yes to this love program on Amoria Laetitia. And this would not be the last time. So just look out for
getting older.
and ever so wise, right? So
thank you all very much for asking me to be part of this, because I've learned some things along the way. And I am always happy to share my life, because it's what I've touched and seen and heard, you know, and I'm thankful for that, you know, for all the years of married love. Yeah.
Married love, yes, definitely. But no, thank you once again, Gloria. I mean, honestly, I cannot thank you enough for this. Not only, I mean, I can't wait for part 2, because I know there's going to be a part 2. Okay. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening, and say hello to Harold for us.
You know? This evening he's settled.
Okay, good. That's really, really good to know. And so thank you everyone for watching today's program with me, Lauren and Gloria, talking about love forgives and love endures. And keep looking out for all the things that we have to offer at the AFLC. And continue sharing and supporting love, whether it is love between parents and children, siblings, grandparents and grandchildren, spouses. Just keep sharing and supporting love wherever and however you do.